who have put in the work to kind of debunk a bit of why it's called a massacre, and they would more so deem it as something called a color revolution. Now, for people who are probably familiar with the Ukraine 2014 protests, Maidan protests, that were kind of trying to overthrow Yukovich, then like the Ukraine on Fire documentaries and part 1 and 2, then you guys are familiar with what a color revolution is. So for those of you who don't know, a color revolution is basically like you get a bunch of young, impressionable minds, because we are the most likely to do this thing, and you try and twist them in a way. We've seen it with Black Lives Matter. You try and twist them in a way where they demand reform or they stir things up violently, so that way governments have to come in and they will either impose the problem reaction solution Hegelian dialectic process, or you get so that can be the way of like getting your government to basically overthrow a government that maybe you don't like. So you kind of created a bit of this like color revolutionary coup, or you demand that some sort of organization come in and save the day to help you with your reforms, so that way your government will comply, or again, insert somebody else, right? So that's a bit of what a color revolution is. Like I said, we've seen it with Black Lives Matter. If you've seen the Ukraine on Fire documentaries, I suggest you go there to check out how that happened with Ukraine. And
So we should definitely give a little caveat. It's not. Most of the time it starts with a natural grievance. It was Najit Nawaz who did a little breakdown on this, and he's done a book on radicalization. It's called Radical, and he was speaking from experience too, as somebody who has been radicalized. And it starts with a genuine grievance. In the case of Tiananmen Square, there was like student protests because there were some harder times and a lot of uncertainties during where the economics were at the time. So it starts with something real, like even Black Lives Matter, looking at racial inequality, definitely not something we're in support of. But these movements, and they almost always get co-opted. It may start natural, but it does not end that way.
Yeah, it's like what happened in Germany. It's like you got horrible economics based on, going to war. So Germany was in a very uncertain place. They're like, oh my gosh, like what's going on? Partly we know that was actually instigated on purpose. It's like their economic situation was brought on purpose to create that instability, because we're predicting it to happen here in the West. So if we think it's going to happen here, has it already happened in the past? Well, we already make the metaphors that we reference ourselves to being like Nazi Germany. So it's like, well, why is that? And it's because they were also going through their own economic system collapse. And then where that happened was, insert Hitler, insert your problem reaction solution. And we actually can even maybe on another episode link to how Hitler was involved with the Tavistock Institute and also backed by Western bankers, which if you don't know that, that'll be a fun one. But regardless, problem reaction solution. So it was even played out in Germany. And then when you had was, like the young, like in that movie Swing Kids or something, it was a great example where it was like the young, I guess, Nazi movement of the young kids, like hence again, young people, and they were impressionable. And then you started to Nazify them. No, I don't know if that's a word, but you started to Nazify them a bit. And then that created a large movement and what it is that you needed for your soldiers for the wars.